of these bread puddings. Wowsy.
9.
9? I've got quite a lot of bread left over. It's not quite as fresh as it needs to be for sandwiches, so I've decided to make a bread pudding. But whilst I was flicking through America's Test Kitchen book, I found a recipe for New Orleans Bourbon Bread Pudding, so I thought, why not give that one a go instead? I need 10 cups of bread. I'm just gonna start ripping it into 1-inch chunks, well, roughly. This recipe says it works really well with baguettes, but I'm gonna do it with the sliced bread that we've got because we've got quite a lot of that left over. Bread pudding isn't really new to me. My auntie's got a lovely recipe for bread pudding, hence why I was gonna make one. But I'm guessing this one's gonna be different because of the bourbon, and never used bourbon in my bread pudding before, following my auntie's recipe. So this is going to be a nice little take on it, because bread pudding's been around for, I don't know, say centuries and centuries. And I think each place does a bread pudding, but everyone has a slight variation on it. It was nice to try a different style, other to one that I'm actually used to. I've got the oven preheating to 450 degrees Fahrenheit for this. I know some of these are bigger than 1 inch, but they're not as thick because it's not a baguette, so we'll just go with it. I do have a slightly little bit more bread, but I'm just gonna chuck it all in and hope for the best. If you watched our Kentucky hot brown video, you'll know that I cut off some crust and made a bit of a hash of trying to cut some bread. I mean, look at that. I did keep all the bits I cut, and this is where it's going to come in handy today. No waste in the H kitchen. A lot of you do ask, do we share our recipes with family and friends? Yes, we do. Not everyone likes to appear on camera. We make so much food that there's too much for us to eat, so we do often share it with our family and friends, and where we can, we do film and bring them in on the experience. I'm going to say that's 10 cups, or that I can't fit any more on the baking tray. So now that the oven has preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to pop that in the oven for 12 minutes to crisp up, but I'm going to turn it halfway through. I don't drink bourbon, but we had this in the cupboard left over from when we made eggnog. I think Mr. H likes bourbon, but we need half a cup of bourbon. I say I don't drink bourbon. I don't really drink dark spirits. I still think I'm gonna like this in this dish. Let me know in the comments down below if you use a different kind of alcohol for things like this, or if you just cut the alcohol completely. I've never had bread pudding with the alcohol in it before, but I am excited to try it today. We also need 1 cup of raisins. I do really like raisins. I could just eat them like that. But I know they're not everyone's cup of tea. And now what we need to do is add the bourbon into the raisins. We're going to heat it up and let that soak in. So the raisins, I'm guessing, are going to be bourbon infused. Pop that onto medium-high heat. Oh, I can smell it. We need to let that simmer. We need to take that bread out of the oven and just give it a turn and then pop it in for another 6 minutes. It's browning up quite nicely. That's simmering along nicely. Now we need to just drain it, keeping the bourbon and the raisins separate. When Mr. H gets home from work, he is going to wonder what the hell I've been doing. If he sees a bottle of bourbon on the side, he's going to think I had a really, really hard day.
Hey, did you try the punch?
Snap out of it, Marge!
Let's strain that. Got just over 1/4 cup of bourbon out of that. I'm hoping it's because they've soaked in nicely to those raisins. When you take a bite into them, you're gonna have a nice bourbony flavor. Our next step is to butter a 13 by 9 inch baking dish. I haven't got a 13 by 9 inch here. I've got a smaller size, but I've got 2, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make 1 for us, as in with the bourbon, and 1 for Alana without, just in case. I know the alcohol normally burns off, but I'm not sure she's gonna like the flavor of bourbon just yet in her early life, so I'm not gonna risk it in today's video. I think that bread's about ready to come out of the oven. It's looking a bit toasty as well. It's smelling quite good. So I'm just gonna pop that on the side. I've just reduced the temperature on the oven down to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and we've got our 2 dishes lightly buttered. Alana's having a little sleep, so I hope I don't wake her in a minute, but she will join me for the taste test if she doesn't wake up in time to do any of the baking. I need another bowl, don't I? Need 8 large egg yolks to go into this mix. Want to know what tips you all have for separating egg yolks and white? I've seen various things done before, like using the 2 halves of the eggshell or putting it in between your fingers. And I like to say I do a mixture of both, as you can see here. Very messy. Right, I'm going to reserve the egg whites for another dish that I'm going to no doubt make quite soon. Just going to lightly beat these eggs. Need to go in with 1.5 cups of light brown sugar. 1. I don't think I've got any right to laugh at Mr. H when he makes a mess anymore. I cut this bag, or ripped it, should I say, so awfully that I'm just making a hell of a mess. I'm also not sure if I prefer cooking using measuring cups or weighing things out, because until this channel I always used to weigh things. So I used to do the conversion into a weight measurement and I'd weigh everything out. But now that I have got these cups, I do like using them for certain recipes. I feel like I get in such a mess and would have been easier to weigh it out. Now with 3 cups of heavy cream. A lot of heavy cream. Put that in. A cup of whole milk. A tablespoon of vanilla. Teaspoon of cinnamon and a sprinkle on the table. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I can already tell I'm going to like this by the ingredients that's gone in it. I don't mean to make a judgment before I taste it, but I think I'm going to like it. And if you like content like this, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's completely free for you and it really helps us out. And if you are subscribed to the channel, just do us a little favor and check that you are actually subscribed, because a few of you have been watching and told us that you're not actually subscribed even though you thought you were. Right, now to whisk. Now at this point I would add in 1/4 cup of the bourbon, but I'm just going to take a little bit out because, like I said earlier, I'm going to do a separate one for Alana, and I don't want her to have any bourbon at this stage. Now I only have 1/4 cup left, so I'm just going to plonk that one in there. Just give it another little whisk. Now I need to add in the toasted bread into the mixture and let it sit for about 30 minutes, tossing occasionally just so it soaks up all of that wet mixture. I'm going to come back in 15 minutes and toss this just to make sure everything is covered. Then I'm going to leave it for another 15 minutes. I've been keeping an eye on this bread and it is very soft now. It's looking pretty good. So we're ready to put it into the baking dishes and make that bread pudding. Okay, so first of all, we used to put half of the mix in, then sprinkle with the raisins, then pour the other half on, a bit more raisins, and then it's ready to bake. Let's have a go. I am going to use the ladle because if I don't, I'm bound to put too much in. I think I probably already have. Let's get those bourbon soaked raisins. Oh, I'm going to say they smell a bit violent just because the bourbon. Okay, there is one on the floor which I will pick up before Fusa does. Okay, now for a bit of Alana's. Okay, in with the rest of Alana's. Because Alana has only got a little one, I'm not going to put any more raisins on top because I think it might be a raisin overload. Now the big one. The recipe doesn't say this, but I am going to press them down a little bit. From experience, sometimes the raisins on top can burn a little bit too much, so I'm just going to try and press them into the mixture so they don't burn too much. Lovely. We're going to pop that in the oven covered with foil and bake for about 45 minutes. And then we've got to do a little bit with some more sugar and cinnamon and then bake uncovered. 45 minutes is up. We're ready to get those bread puddings out of the oven. We've got a couple of little bits to do. In here we have 3 tablespoons of sugar and half a teaspoon of cinnamon. We've now got 6 tablespoons of butter, which we need to work in. Yes, working with our hands into like pea-sized amounts, apparently. I should have got a better bowl, I think, Alana. Well, it's just butter, so Mummy, just do it, if you don't mind. Ooh, the unveiling of these bread puddings. Wowzy. Now we just got to put pea-sized amounts of the sugar and butter on top. Now it's not quite, wow, that smells amazing. It's not quite worked. The butter has just gone to a big pile of mush. So this whole sprinkling thing isn't quite working, but boy, this smells amazing. I am just going to pop a little bit more sprinkling of cinnamon on Alana's just because I haven't put that much on there in terms of the sugar and butter mix. We just need to pop these back into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes until the custard sets. And then we're going to get on with that custard kind of creamy topping that goes on these. The bread pudding has been back in for 25 minutes. I've removed it. It looks quite set, but now we need to just pop it under the broiler for a couple of minutes just so it caramelizes on top. Let's give you a little peek of what it looks like. Wow. I'm going to pop these New Orleans Bourbon Bread Puddings under the broiler just so that top caramelizes nicely. We're almost ready for that taste test, but we just got to make that bourbon sauce. In here, I've got 1.5 teaspoons of cornstarch. Just need to add 2 tablespoons of bourbon. There we go. Give it a little whisk. Okay, now over to the pan. I've got 3/4 cup of heavy cream, and in the saucepan, I've got 2 tablespoons of sugar. Just gonna pop that in. I need to heat that until the sugar melts. That sugar's dissolved really, really quickly. So now in with the cornstarch and bourbon mix. I guess this bit is going to be thickening bit and what makes it taste nice. And I've got to keep whisking this for 3 to 5 minutes until it's thick. Okay, now that's boiling. I'm reducing the heat to low to medium. And now I've got to cook it for a few minutes until it thickens. It's thickened up nicely, so I need to add 2 teaspoons, and that's 2 teaspoons, not tablespoons. I nearly put tablespoons in, of butter cut into 8. I've got to take it off the heat. The heat's off, and I've got to whisk that butter in. And finally, this seems quite a boozy dessert. Honestly, not been drinking. 2 more tablespoons of bourbon. Okay, now this is ready to be drizzled over that cake. Let's get taste testing. What would you like?
I see.
Magic words?
Please, Mommy.
Right, you have been waiting patiently. Alana's going to kick us off with a taste test of her New Orleans bread pudding, because there's no bourbon in hers.
Wow. Oops.
Nice try.
It's okay.
No,
9?
Is that 9 out of 10?
Is it okay?
Is it nice?
9.
9. Wow. We've advanced from nice to 9.
9.
9.
Definitely a 9.
So I finished work, I've had a shower and a wash, got my hat on because my hair's just... So obviously I've missed quite a bit of cooking.
You've missed quite a bit of cooking. Sorry, it's getting late and I'm not really sure what's happening anymore, other than I want to eat some cake.
And I got my pyjamas. Ladies first.
Okay. It smells boozy.
Does it?
It does. It reminds me a little bit just of the smell of Christmas pudding.
Okay.
And it's got raisins. Probably won't taste anything like it, but let's go. bourbon-y.
Is it?
Is it okay? I'm going for more.
Go for a bit more. So the bourbon's in the cream?
The bourbon's in the cream and in the raisins and in the cake.
Wow. But obviously, Alana's not having any bourbon in hers. Okay. What do you think?
All through this, I thought I was going to love it,
Oh.
just by the ingredients and everything. And then when I got it ready to actually taste test, I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy it as much as I thought I did.
Okay.
But then I tasted it and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, wow. Wow, you threw a mega curveball then, didn't you? You thought you were going to go one way, and then I thought you were going to go another way, and then you went back to really liking it.
It's very Christmassy, this to me. Even though bread pudding isn't a Christmas thing, it reminds me of mince pies, it reminds me of brandy sauce, even though it's not brandy cream sauce, that is. It reminds me of Christmas pudding. Yeah, really like that. I wanted not to like it, in a way, just because I wanted to say I just prefer normal bread pudding.
Can I have a little go now?
No, I'm still talking.
While you're thinking about a score, don't click off yet, because we're going to give our scores out of 10. You have a think. I don't normally go for like boozy cakes and things like that. Oh, I can smell it. Cool.
A boozy cake, yeah.
Whoa, yeah, I can smell the bourbon. Okay, here we go.
Nice.
It's really strange. It's like, you can really taste the bourbon.
Yeah.
It's not overpowering, but it's quite strong.
Doesn't it?
It's quite strong, but...
I think because it's in the bourbon sauce, it hits you straight away, but then it kind of mellows out that bourbon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sort of does that and sort of goes, it calms down. I like that. Is it my favourite cake? Probably not. Give me banana pudding any day, particularly the Goldies or pecan pie. What would I give that out of 10? Again, it's very Christmassy. It seems very Christmassy to me.
My favourite time of year.
I would probably give that 7 out of 10.
Oh, really? So I wanted you to probably just give it a 6, which is what I thought I was going to do before we did the taste test, but I've got to go with a 9.
Oh, really?
It's got all the makings of a lovely dessert for me. I love raisins. Well, I told you whilst I was making it, everything I liked about it. Our bread pudding that we make here, which is my auntie's recipe, is a lot stodgier, and it's like having a piece with a cup of coffee or something like that. I thought this was going to be stodgy, and that's why I didn't think I'd like it. I really do like it.
It's quite light as well, isn't it?
It is. For a bread pudding, it's light. Really good.
If you enjoy our videos and you want to support us, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to be notified every time we upload a new video. We would really, really appreciate it. And all that leaves us 3 to say is...
Take care.
God bless.
And see you all in the next video.